I'm here with the Association of African Universities Television, AUTV. I just want to say that without the media, you won't know what's going on in the world. Even with the media, you sometimes don't know what's going on in the world. So you need to tune in to the reliable sources who are really on the front lines, who can give you the information you need and give you facts, not conjecture, give you real news, not fake news. And this is the place to find it, AUTV.
The voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome to the Hello Africa Morning Show, coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities. My name is Jemima Deladem Duche. And to our top stories for today, Africa is mounting on regional leaders to intervene in Togo's deepening political unrest. The African Political Council, ADC, is calling on Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama to urgently mitigate the ongoing crisis in Togo. In a statement released on Thursday, the Council criticized the inaction of international bodies and expressed confidence in President Mahama's leadership to help restore peace. The ADC also pledged technical support for Togo's post-conflict recovery. Meanwhile, in Somalia, a military helicopter operated by the African Union has crashed and caught fire at Mogadishu's airport, killing at least 3 people. The aircraft, originally from the Ugandan Air Force, was carrying 8 personnel. Research and rescue operations are ongoing. South African authorities have confirmed 2 new outbreaks of the deadly H5N1 avian flu strain, marking the first cases since September 2024. The virus, detected through routine checks, poses a serious threat to poultry and potential risks to humans, though no human cases have been reported so far.
But the situation is being closely monitored.
UNAIDS is sounding the alarm of overshrinking international funding for the global AIDS response. At a high-level summit in Spain, Executive Director Winnie Byanyima warned that up to 4.2 million more AIDS-related deaths, many of them children, could occur by 2029 if urgent action isn't taken.
The fight against AIDS is at a critical turning point. That was the warning from UNAIDS Executive Director Winnie Byanyima during a global financing summit in Madrid. She said the world could see over 4 million more AIDS-related deaths by 2029, including 300,000 children, if international support continues to drop. Already, 630,000 people died from AIDS-related illness in 2024 alone. Byanyima raised particular concern about the potential loss of the world's largest donor, who currently provides nearly 3/4 of all international AIDS funding. She urged worthy nations to take action, not just by increasing aid, but by supporting fairer systems that allow developing countries to fund their own responses. That includes reforms in global debt, tax policy, and intellectual property rights. Without stronger support, UNAIDS estimates that the world could face up to 6.6 million new HIV infections by the end of the decade.
US President Donald Trump is set to host the leaders of Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal from July 9 to 11. The surprise meeting signals U.S. diplomatic interest in Africa, with trade expected to top the agenda.
The gathering has taken many by surprise, but is being seen by analysts as part of Washington's renewed diplomatic outreach to the continent. Just last month, the Trump-led White House helped broker a peace between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, an agreement that paused months of fighting in eastern DRC between government troops and Rwanda-backed rebel groups. However, not only recent diplomatic engagements have been smooth. A tense bilateral with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa in May ended on a frosty note, with some observers accusing Trump of ambushing the South African leader during talks. Still, the upcoming mini-summit is expected to focus largely on boosting trade and commercial tie areas Trump has prioritized as alternatives to traditional U.S. aid and humanitarian programs. Plans for a broader U.S.-African summit has also been hinted at for September, though no official confirmation has been given.
That is all for the top African stories. My name is Jemima Daladem Doche. Up next is News Review. Stay tuned.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
You have yourself a great morning if you just tune in to Hello Africa on AAU TV. My name is Ajiman Ochodako and I'm here with
Isabella Tete Ahenakwa.
Yeah, Bella, today is it a Black Day?
I don't know. Maybe we got the memo.
The memo, really.
Yeah.
We look so nice for you every day because it's important for us to brighten up your day with some stories. And, you know, our very impartial way of doing the analysis help you appreciate the matters fully, and you also be informed in a way of what's happening across the world, even here in Ghana.
Yeah, and we would love to hear from you, your comments on most of the topics that we'll be discussing. I think maybe we should give them a highlight of what we'll be discussing.
Yes, maybe before that, you know, the AAU is embarking on its 16th annual general conference happening in Rabat, Morocco. So do want to visit the AAU's website if you're an academic or a stakeholder within the higher education space and you want to be there to participate, let your voice be heard and contribute to higher education affairs in Africa. Be there at the 16th general conference at Morocco.
Right. So we'll be discussing issues like the dress code policy being implemented by UPSA. We'll also discuss the new strategy by Uganda, that is the biofuel blend that they want to implement to reduce the cost of fossil fuel. We'll also be looking at, in Nigeria, opposition parties coming together just to compete Tinubu in the 2027 election. And also we will look at the impact of the US aid cuts, especially on African health system. So these and many more stories that we will be discussing, and we would love to hear from you, your comments on these issues.
Yeah, so stick with us. We'll go for a quick one or break. We'll come back. We'll just give you more of the detail on Hello Africa. So just tell our friend to join. Be right back. And, you know, let me just start by saying a very good morning to the Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, Professor Lushola Bandele Oyewole. His benevolence, leadership is actually keeping the institution on board. And today we're here riding on all of his leadership strides. Let's start with the very first story, which is looking at UPSA dress code incident, which sparked public outrage. You know, in Ghana, when these things happen, you have everybody coming on board with an opinion. It's very important. But the institution also has its own opinions about dressing. But this sought to be a very awful incident that occurred on July 2nd, 2025. that showed that students were forcefully dragged out from their classroom, off the classrooms because they were indecently dressed for class, and the lecturer had to take such drastic measures to enforce the dress code protocol in that manner. However, there has been a series of comments that come from youth activists, members of parliament, CSOs, and human rights organizations condemning the act that was carried out in the lecture hall. The university has also come out with a communique admitting the flaw that occurred, and also standing on the ground that they need to revive and revise their dress code enforcement protocol. But today, Bella, the conversation is within the communication that came from the university afterwards, the backlash that came from the public.
Okay.
One is asking, was this act needful? Was it necessary by the lecturer? Was it a message he was trying to send to every student to have them stay away or have them change their behavior towards the way they dress because maybe it was too much tolerated, and therefore he had to take a drastic measure to have them deter from this act? What's your view on this?
Well, I think maybe you've answered your own question, but then with the action of the teacher or the lecturer, I think it is inappropriate. But looking at the video, we really do not know what triggered that action. We only saw the part of the lecturer pulling the students off campus because she's indecently dressed, right? And why would you, as a student, you know that there's been a communication out there that was, I think, 30th June, the school came out with a communique that these are the policy, dress code policy, and as a student, this is how you should dress when coming to campus. And that the following day or days later, you go to campus indecently dressed. You know, obviously, they're going to take you off campus, and we don't know how the students reacted, and we all know how these Gen Z sometimes they react when you try to infringe on their rights, when you want to stop them from doing things that they really want to do. Do you get what I'm saying? We don't know what really triggered the action, but then again, it is inappropriate for the lecturer to forcefully pull the student from campus.
Well, you know, it's unfortunate when we say that it ended up in the lecturer forcefully dragging the students from their classes outside, and that's where everybody's jumping. Why would you have to lay your hand on everybody? Well, that is an infringement on human rights. That's so assaulting. But let's say that was just the down part of the lecturer's sort of way of enforcing this protocol. Could there have been any other way that he could have done it? Report him to the academic council, or there's any disciplinary or dean of students office for disciplinary or punitive measures where they could have been carried out. I am concerned about the communique that the university brought on June 30th, which sought to defy, I think that it defied their own integrity on their grounds. Yes, the lecturer went a bit overboard by assaulting. But I ask, what then was the alternative enshrined in the student's handbook that the lecturer could have deployed? Was the lecturer short of means to deploy his actions? Or was the lecturer just doing what was the best thing to do because of the frustration he had gone through with this indecent dressing case? So right from that angle, the letter that came out condemned his actions and said the lecturer had actually apologized to the student for that forceful encounter. But what was the other alternative? What is the approach thereof? The letter in one other paragraph therefore stipulated that the university was therefore undergoing a review of its dress code enforcement protocols, which then means that it has enshrined a dress code of conduct order that students had to abide by, but was not very explicit about what the action should be. This presupposes that a university maybe perhaps had been sleeping on its quality assurance, which should cut across everything, even student appearance.
Okay.
For now, after a reaction for you to go to review, it's a dump on quality assurance, which calls for consistent, continuous development, hinged on proactivity and not reactivity. That is my argument at this point.
Well, I agree with you on some parts and also disagree with you on other parts. I agree with you when you talk about being consistent in terms of revising or going back to review your policy. You know, the handbook has been in existence for a very long time, and I don't think it's not been reviewed. But maybe they brought out this communique just to inform people that calm down. You know, when they brought the policy, they actually insisted on it. It's been there for a very long time, but now it looks like, looking at how students are dressing, it is not being implemented. Students are not complying to these policies. So now they need to send a warning. That is how we got the June 30th communique. But then comments under these policies show that people were not really happy about some of the things that they were talking, like some of the things they are trying to stop students from: anklets, type of hats, nose rings, and all that. You know, these days there's been modernization. Hold on. Yes, and fashion wise, we know it's a professional. It's a professional school, and you need to abide by the dress code. Yes. But if they say they are going back to revise and review the policy, it's just to me, I think it is just to ensure that they do not really infringe on students' rights, and also do not and also like support the policy, the dress code. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Come to the middle part and not infringe on someone's right. So for them to say that we are going back to review, maybe it was something they were doing and has not been communicated. But then now that they are talking about it, it's just to let people calm down and let them know that we know that we are not happy with the communication, the dress code policy that we came with, and so we are reviewing it to ensure that we meet everybody's needs.
Yeah, I mean, for us to make a headway on this matter this morning, we have to agree to disagree in some cases, and then all be on the same page. So I would also align with you on the part that yes, the action, you know, ethically, sometimes the ideological aspect or teleological aspects, the ways and means and the results may differ. But ethics informs us that whatever you do, if the approach can be of concern, how did you do it?
Yeah.
And one approach says that how did it end? So these two schools of thoughts are hinged in ethics. Yeah. The approach was bad, but the result defended the integrity of the university and the values of the university. Yeah. On the other way around, people condemn the act that we thought you could have done it in a much more civil-oriented way, which is devoid of force, but still the values would have been upheld, which I agree with you. Laying your hand on a person and stretching, those are more assaulting than professional. But on the other hand, on the arguments about what are the facts of this matter, the anklets and then the nose rings, today becoming in vogue. It's now in vogue. So many young ladies and so many young men, so you can't differ from who. Men now put on anklets sometimes. Women do so. Men also do nose rings. Women do so. But a university like UPSA,
a professional,
believes in its values as scholarship with professionalism. It means that they are not only allowing you to study to be the best, but also imbibing in you a professional outlook to redefine your outlook. And therefore, it holds on to its professional code of conduct and dress code. Students putting on nose rings to the university, it is not allowed. So it wants to find...
No, it is allowed in some schools, but...
I am talking in context of the University of Professional Studies with an Accra to it. Yes. For them, it is not allowed.
No.
They believe that professionally, an individual should appear and present themselves devoid of these elements. They don't connote to professionalism. So if you were a student in UPSA today, you're hearing my voice. If you are in this behavior or this attitude in your dressing, and you love UPSA and its values, and you want to be a part of it, you may want to revise your thoughts, renew your thoughts, and now align yourself to the codes enshrined in your handbook. If you want to do nose rings and hand anklets, you can do it on vacations.
Maybe during weekends or
on vacations. Yes. And some companies will allow this to happen, but some companies will not.
Exactly.
It's all about the value system, which is subjective or objective, sorry. Everybody has their own way of doing it. So whatever it is, appreciate the context, appreciate the values to the context, and abide by it.
Yeah, I think maybe these students forget that it's a professional school and it's just like the other, tertiary education or tertiary organizations. But when we compare that of the school, the Ghana School of Law, they have a professional way. You need to abide by it. You don't go to campus dressed anyhow. You need to wear that black and white.
What happened with the lady? I'm a governor who was upheld to an extent. She didn't get she couldn't get because of her public appearance. And they were very particular. She doesn't portray herself in resonance with the value system of the legal education in Ghana. And that's why I think, was it this year or last year, she graduated. Now she had to align. See, sometimes people need a little bit of coercion for them to conform.
Very true.
She did what she could, demonstrated whatever, but at the end of the day, because she loved the career, she conformed. I think that sometimes we are peddled to loosen up our value systems. That is how far we've come as a country. We don't seem to have anything to our heritage as a country, as a continent. What's happening? We are just borrowing knowledge from Western worlds. We don't have anything of our own because we now demonize what we have, and then we accept gladly what comes from.
Let's not go to heritage. If we go there, that means if we go there, somebody is also going to critique the dress code of the professionals, because some say you should wear suits, and this is not Africa. So let's not go there. Somebody
I revere a lot, Mr. Yawan Sako, who was one of the big leaders for Unilever West Africa, made a comment on threats and said that UPSA is trying to be professional and imbibe in the students a culture of professionalism and suited tie things. But the king in the palanquin.
You are an alumni, so maybe you can share your experience, because I know for you, did you get that? Were you inspired from?
Understand. The king in the palanquin.
Don't dodge the question.
UPSA has a program for leadership. Has a center for leadership, digital leadership. And when the chiefs come, they don't wear suit. They wear everybody has their own discipline.
Okay.
If you are doing administration and you want to go and do chieftaincy development, go and put on your cloth.
No.
So far as I am doing administration, I am being nurtured to think and model myself as a future administrator.
Okay.
What do? They wear suit and tie.
But you can use African print to do suit and tie. Exactly, but if you look at the dress code, it didn't say African print suit and tie. It's actually prescribed what you are wearing now. And Ajima, back to my question. Doc, back to my question. Yes. You are an alumni of UPSA, and I know very well that you are a suit man. You can wear suits from Monday to Friday. Were you inspired?
How do you know that?
But I know you. I've known you for like years. I just want to know. This can be an inspiration to the students. Exactly. So were you inspired by the dress code policy on campus, or this is something you love to do even from secondary school too?
The answer is yes. Yes, I was inspired by the UPSA code of conduct. I was told that the way you dress would duly inform the way you are addressed. So if you come to the office wearing a singlet and a boxer shorts, you will be found to be a lunatic who has lost his way and should be carried and thrown out.
But that's not how they dress to campus.
No, I'm just saying that if you wear bathroom slippers to the lecture hall, you are trying to say that you actually didn't prepare for the lecture. You found your way there. So go and prepare and come back. I was inspired over my 4-year journey to my undergrad and then my 2-year MBA that the way you dress goes a long way to model your mind, model your soul and your heart, and positions you properly for your career.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I want people to address you the way you want it to address you.
Yeah.
Don't make people address you wrongly because you want to. Let them know who you are by your appearance. So decency, modesty in appearance is a key requisite for life development. And UPS is trying to imbibe that the very best way it can. So it's unfortunate the action went on.
Yeah.
But UPSA is still strong to maintain its standards for future.
And personally, I am in support of it, because when you look at these days, the graduate students, how when they report to work, how they dress, and you can see that. I mean, yeah,
Which school did they come from?
Yeah, it's really not good. So I mean, I'm in support of this, and UPSA should stand firm no matter the backlash or human rights. I mean, yes, we can use a better and right approach to ensure that this is implemented very well.
Yeah.
I'm in support of it. So moving on.
What's next for us?
So the next question is the next topic. Is on the Uganda ethanol plant. So in a bold move to reduce its 2 billion annual petroleum import bill and shift towards renewable energy, Uganda will, starting January next year, require all fuel distributors to blend locally produced ethanol into petrol. Now, the Uganda National Oil Company will spearhead the policy, beginning with a 5% ethanol blend and scaling up to 20% as domestic supply allows. Now, ethanol, which is primarily derived from sugarcane, molasses, and cassava, is regarded as a biofuel alternative that can help lower emissions, create agricultural value, and reduce dependence on imported fossil fuel. However, as Uganda prepares for commercial oil production, the policy raises important questions about the science of ethanol blending, infrastructure readiness, vehicle compatibility, and whether similar models can be implemented across Africa. Doc, so this is a new strategy being implemented in Uganda, and I'm surprised. First off, let me explain the 5% to 20%.
Yeah.
Maybe we have using beverages. When you check the alcoholic content, it gives a percentage. Yes. But this is different when it comes to the biofossil. 5% shows that it has 5% of ethanol, and then 95% of the fossil fuel. That is the same. 20% shows that it has the 20% of the ethanol, and then 80% of the fossil fuel. Yeah. Now back to my statement. I am quite surprised. Yeah, that
in Africa,
because this, I mean, we know this is possible for a very long time, and some of the Western countries are doing this like for a very, very, very long time. So, I mean, yes, it's a step. Yeah. And congratulations to Uganda, and I hope it is done and sustained, not for a very short period. I really hope it is done, and some other African countries like my country, Ghana, can also do this. Adma, why are you smiling?
You know, it was in Africa, when you are hoping too much, you'll be disappointed. You can't hope for Africa.
But what do you think?
You know, it's very it's tragic when you find some of these advanced approaches being realized now, becoming like latest trends here in Africa. I'm not enthused. I'm not amused, neither am I, because I feel like this has been a practice in some economies so many years ago. Yeah. Like 40 years ago, the US, the Brazil are all championing the production of ethanol and are making it a composition of their fuel base. And I've been living with it, saving their economies, cutting down on greenhouse gases, and helping governments build their budgets. And we are here. We are here. Someone just like Uganda just discovered oil, because they realized they could now utilize the power of ethanol to sustain their economy. I mean, what is amusing about this? There's nothing amusing about this, but rather it's a wake-up call that I think that we have been sleeping on this one. So somebody just woke up. Uganda just woke up in this area. And Babella, let me just try and then build a very important trajectory to this matter. When we see that, okay, ethanol is a very good reactant with normal fossil fuel or gasoline and could serve a good purpose for our vehicles. We have got the very best of scientists. In fact, we have got that capacity in Africa. Have we ever thought about this before?
So if you say capacity, in what terms? Is it infrastructure? Is it personnel?
You see,
Well,
that
is
is
it
the,
capital?
that is how
Because-
that is how we block, or that is how we go about things to derail our own progress.
Okay.
If you look at what African governments invest in, there is nothing we cannot fulfill
Okay.
if we set our mind to do so. As at now, I'm talking right now.
Hey,
There's
you know, you are
nothing-
taking me back to our argument in the morning before coming
Yeah,
on set.
actually,
you know,
I'm
you
telling
just said there's nothing
There's
that
nothing that we
Hey,
cannot fulfill.
Okay.
If we want to fulfill,
I
we'll
like
do
the
it.
statement.
Yes, there's nothing we cannot do. We can do everything in this continent if we
It
want
is
to do
possible.
so. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Hashtag, it's possible.
Yeah.
You know that, don't you? We can do it. But what is our problem?
Okay.
What has been our problem? So look at it. Ethanol as a product is hinged on some raw materials like cassava, corn, and sugarcane. In the US, corn production is 15% of their economy, and they are one of the world's largest producers and suppliers of corn. What do? The US realized that they could harness the potential of corn production to support the economy, produce ethanol for its fuel production, and also get some revenue. And they have done it perfectly.
Okay.
Sugarcane in Brazil also serves the same purpose.
Okay.
The science of ethanol production and its resultants in fuel production is clear, because there are elements in there that inure to that purpose. So where have we been all this while? Drake released a song recently called "What Did I Miss?"
Okay.
What did we miss, Africa? What did we miss? Are you not intrigued by this discovery? Are you telling me that so all the chemists in Ghana or in Africa saw this? Africa, globally known as the food basket of the world, because it has so much endowed with arable lands, cannot invest heavily in agriculture to also have a say on the table when it comes to ethanol, and even find a way to integrate ethanol use in its fuel-based system here in
So that
Africa.
is where it is going to start from. Of course. I mean, now that they know ethanol is very useful when it comes to
Now they know.
yes.
I like the
So
fact
that
you say now they know.
yes,
Which
so
I- which
they
that's
are
where-
going to
that's
now
why I'm disappointed.
invest into this sector and ensure that ethanol is very available to be blended to the fossil fuel. So it starts from one step to the other. Maybe they didn't know that
They
it is.
know.
Yeah, maybe they didn't know it. But now that they know, obviously, of course, they are going to invest into this sector. But Jiman, let's look at this scenario. So we all know that sugarcane, cassava, corn, these are all products that we eat, we consume,
Yeah.
and use it for other products. And now we are looking at ethanol. Don't you think it's going to create food security problems?
You know, if you go to the US supplies corn. It means have you ever heard the US battling over food insecurity before?
Okay.
Nigeria recently threw its hands up in the air that we are actually approaching a point of emergency when it comes to food security. And I was like, how?
How?
How can Nigeria say this? Nigeria, the largest continent in Africa, the giant. If the giant of Africa is saying I'm actually going hungry, then what would the dwarfs do? I mean, this is just a metaphor. But we need to rise up. When it comes to Africa's case, whatever we say about Africa is the opposite. It's a parody. Africa, food basket of the world, which is realistically not the case. There's always an irony when it comes to Africa's accolades and attributes. Africa is the food basket. Africa has arable lands. Yet, the outcome is not incongruent with what was said. So we live the opposite of what the world sees us.
Okay.
And why should it be so?
Okay.
Because we are not we are not strategically intelligent. We don't look at what our strengths are and we don't put in the energy. We seem a bit haphazard when it comes to our policy formulation and implementation gaps. They are disjoint. This is Africa's plight since 1963 when Kwame Nkrumah led the independence rage all over the continent. It didn't succeed. There were resistance. And all of these things we say, and it's a conspiracy that we have so many neocolonialism still happening today. Africans are not entirely free. They are still being peddled and influenced by some invisible colonial hands, which are saying, don't agree. Don't disagree. Look at after.
Yeah.
A beautifully crafted African
Initiative.
continental free trade area,
Yeah.
which has so much potential, $2.3 billion in revenue if we are to work together. We ambitiously in 2021 or 2, January, said we'll have all finance sectors in Africa government meeting to look at how we can have one common currency. In Nigeria, it was thrown out of the window because of amassed public debt that was owned by some countries that couldn't make this see its fruition. Bella, what are we talking about here? I'm saying that Africa's strength to hold on initiatives and process it lacks a lot of energy. And if we are really serious, Uganda today is trying to enforce this. I wish Uganda the best because they've seen that they spend almost $2 billion annually, and they could have used that money to strengthen its local economy. When you invest in sugarcane, when you invest in corn production, you have the food for yourself. So the corn food itself, there are so many we can get from it. Some of it will go into supporting your food chain. Some too will also be used for the production of ethanol. And the byproduct thereof can even feed your livestock. The chaff of the corn.
It can be used for fertilizer.
There's a
and
lot
things,
of value significance in that chain that we should be looking at. So I'm surprised that we are not even doing the same in other parts of the country.
You know, in Ghana, it's also not news because when we look at some of the acts and policies in Ghana, it actually recommends these blends, just that it's not mandatory to be done in Ghana. But hopefully we also see the light.
We equally spend a lot of money importing the crude. We import crude to refine. Sometimes
we have some comments on this topic. Let's take some of them. So this is from Tracy in East Lagos. She says, are most vehicles in African countries, particularly the older cars and motorbikes commonly used in rural areas, compatible with ethanol fuel blends like E5 and E20? Well, yes, it's compatible because research shows that from all the cars, I think from 2010 or 2019 is compatible. That is starting from the E20, but with the E5 to E20, all cars.
We import vehicles from the US. Ghana's automobile imports. Majority from the US, from China, Japan, and co. And US runs with this E10, E85,
E20
thing. So what are we talking about?
Well, she just wants to know. It's somebody will also be asking this because actually we wanted to clarify. It is very compatible. But from 20 to E80 shows that there's a specialized cars done for that type of fuel blend. But with the E5 to E20, it is very, very compatible. And this is also from Telma in Kumasi. Good morning, Bella and Ajiman. I want to know, given that we often doubt our own innovations in Africa, will fuel distributors and consumers, I like this question, trust and adopt these ethanol blends without resistance? What kind of public education or awareness campaigns will be necessary to build confidence and ensure a smooth rollout? I like this question.
Yeah, it's on point. And the goal is there's nothing wrong with ethanol blend in alcohol formation because it is being used in the US and it has
not just being used. Study shows that it's
been very I will say very efficient. It has no effect on engines.
No emissions, like lower emissions.
So there's nothing repels us from also looking in that direction. The only thing that stands in between us and this initiative is leadership and national commitment. That is all.
Yeah, and also, we need to win the trust of people. We need to win that people, we need to ensure that people are adapting to these new strategy. It may be new to a lot of people. So maybe the best thing is continue to educate people, and also maybe these oil companies should also display that this is the percentage we have here, this is the percentage we have here. Maybe E5 here, it is E5 percentage for the fuel that you get here, it is E20, just to ensure that people know, because not all vehicles can take the E20 and not all vehicles can take I think this, you can see the percentage looking at the cover of the fuel tank and also the manual of the car. So yes, the awareness and the education should. So if really we want to implement such strategy, it should be that, because trust me, even the oil companies are going to criticize that.
Well, it's leadership. Oil companies don't own the country. You see, let me put this on an ESG base, okay? Environmentally, this ethanol blend is the best. Ethanol, known as, a renewable energy source, it's from plants, right? Unlike these other compound-based, these are chemicals, purely based chemicals. So they are not organic. This is an organic-based fuel mixture.
Yeah.
So let's say you are trying to blend organic and inorganic substances to form a substance, and you can see that at least there will be a cut down on emission. There is an importance for the ethanol introduction. It has a role to cut down on greenhouse gases. So it has been tried, tested, and it has that lower emission rates on the greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to go for this efficient and effective method?
Why
by
wouldn't
going for a
want
full 100% gasoline one, which is 100% emission?
Yeah.
And all these, and environmentally, that is the point. Socially, governments are looking at cutting budget.
Yeah.
So you can actually say that I'm going to save some money because I'm not buying fossil fuels. I'm also having some internally mechanism that is also cutting down my expenses. And governance-wise, we all stand to gain from it because it is bearing the efficiency and effectiveness to keep things going very well.
Well, we're talking about cutting budget. We just hope that it's going to be locally produced here in the country and not imported. I think maybe we should move to the next story.
Yes, and there is this expression that if life threw at you pineapple and oranges, you have to do what we call a fruit cocktail. And we have such an occurrence happening currently in Nigeria. You have two major political leaders, the likes of Atiku Abubakar, who also contested in the elections in Nigeria, and also another very formidable counterpart, the person of Peter Obi. These two candidates did very well in the elections. If you see the results, Tinubu, who is the current president, making 35 plus, and then Atiku doing 29, and then Peter Obi doing 25. These two parties sat down and then thought through that if they really want to make a headway in the elections come 2028, they have the elections quite earlier than Ghana.
Yeah.
I think 2027 also.
Yeah.
Maybe not sure.
That's next election.
Yeah, next election. They would want to form alliance against the incumbent, who is Ahmed Bello Tinubu. And this is their approach. They are not going back. And they call it the African Development Congress, ADC. Bella,
Yes.
is it a good idea?
Oh, yes, it
You
is.
like it, eh?
Yes. Yeah. If it's well understood and everything is being done peacefully, of course, I agree to it. What is the main goal? The main goal is to take out Tinubu from the next election so that they be in power. So yes, of course, if that is the best solution, of course. Because when we look at last election, we saw that combining these two major, these two opposition parties, they would have overthrown Tinubu. They would have gotten 13 million votes compared to 8 million votes of Tinubu. So if that is the strategy they want to come by, it's well accepted by me. But then, the APC was also smaller parties coming together to form the APC, though it is there, but they later brought together smaller. So it's like a repetition of something that was done.
So we have history repeating itself because
Exactly.
once upon a time, in the political history of Nigeria, parties had to also converge to throw a party, the PDP at the time.
Yeah.
So this is not something strange. But I am more concerned about what actually informed or motivated this coalition. You know, it is not easy for political parties out of their own sovereignty and pride to say, okay, I want to drop my arsenal and now join force with you so we can go for this. If two parties form alliance, it's either for the good or the bad. But in a setting like Nigeria, I am informed that it's at a very important time in Nigeria's political history when these two parties say that we can't watch things go this way.
Yeah.
We need to form alliance and make this happen this time.
Yeah.
There's been comments coming from the incumbent government team that, well, this is going to be futile. It's not going to go anywhere. They're going to lose, and maybe perhaps they would go. They will just relocate for the country. These are very intimidating responses, but I see that these two parties mean business when they do this, because it isn't an easy thing for you to now join forces, drop your own party. So these people, Peter Obi was the leader for the Labour Party, LP, and had his own people following him, his own leaders and the team, and dissolves LP. And Tinubu does the same thing. Atiku does the same thing. And then they say, let's create something new. It means there's a lot of power behind this. And I believe that it's backed by good intentions for that purpose they want to do for us. If it doesn't succeed, that's going to be a very serious matter.
Yes, and also one factor or drivers of this coalition is that they think or they believe the current president or the current government wants to maintain a one-party system, but so that is why they want to come and then overthrow. But talking about one-party system, I don't think so, because the current political party on is if this duration should end, that means 10 years. But the PDP has been ruling from I think 1999 till 2015, where they were overthrown. That is 16 years, right? So how are you comparing 16 years to 10 years, saying Tinubu wants to be in power for a very long time or maintain a one-party system?
You know, Africa's political trajectory is backed by a constitution. So Nigeria attained its republic status right from the day they got independence, and they have kept it on. Their constitution heavily stipulates that the power to elect government is in the hands of the people.
Yeah.
And they have stipulated the number of years every government should serve. 4-year first term, 4 years, just like we have in the US. 4 year, you can't do beyond 4 years. In Ghana, you can't be beyond 8 years. As a leader, you have to step down for the next leader to come and take it up. But today, in Africa, we find things changing. Look at Uganda. No, Uganda's president, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, has been in government for more than a decade and keeps doing that. You can look at what's happening in Rwanda. It's also beyond the normal term. Is that what democracy is about? Is that the best we can do for democracy? You know, you can see things looking so good, but
from the outside.
From the outside.
Yeah.
But is that what the Constitution says? That only one person goes to elections and they win, and they've been doing that for the next 8 years, and they keep on going. And is that what we want Africa to be like? So let the Constitution be what it is. You are giving your time to serve. When it's time, let there be free and fair elections, and let everybody who believes they can also take the country to the next level stand on a fair basis, so that we can have, you see, fresh talent, innovation. When I say knowledge, it's not only one person's head. So why do you think you're the only person who has all the knowledge? Let the people decide. But for some time now in Nigeria, it is not a reflection of what the people want. It has not been the case. Things have been overturned. Power is conservative. So, and we hear about these things. We hear about what's happening in Nigeria in the elections. You go and then the results come and then you have to keep quiet. So the Constitution stipulates it clear. If President Tinubu wants to now introduce a one-party system, it will go to the Senate, and they will agree on it, and it becomes a law. Until then, and even though he may have all the advantage, it is not in the interest of any African country to constitute a one-party system. It is not. We are not a monarch. We don't intend to be one. We believe in free and fair election. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone to lead. So let the constitution be what it is and keep the country going forward.
And also, I'm really surprised Tinubu's APC is saying their strategy is going to fail. But looking at Nigeria, currently the youth are very angry at the government and they are not in support of it. But then when we look at Obi has the interest of the youth and then the urban areas. And then again, you know, in Nigeria, the highest voice or the louder voice comes from the northern part, and that is where Atiku is also having quite
not really a much share. Not really a much share. You know, they say in Nigeria's elections, if the results come out and you haven't heard from the 3 Ks, the KKK.
What was the KKK?
Kaduna, Kano, and Kasada. Go and sleep. Don't go sleep yet.
Okay.
Because 1K alone can destroy your life. So, and that is the stronghold of the APC. President Buhari had his stronghold in the 3 Ks. You know, they have this funny saying that when the results were coming out, the Atiku and Co were laughing. Buhari was very steady. When 1K dropped, you know, the gap is huge. Another K. So those 3 Ks belong to the APC, and you know, sometimes voter patterns, you can't really predict how it goes. And that's been their strongholds and their winning patterns all these years. So they are confident that, well, you can do what you can do, but the 3 Ks won't disappoint. Yeah, we just believe that Nigeria, stands up for itself and goes for what it believes in, they believe in, not because of any alignment or belongingness, but what we believe in as democracy, what we believe in as development and growth is what Nigeria should go for every time.
And also you made mention, I just want us to conclude on this because you made mention that, you know, we know that these political individuals, they have these ego, pride and all that. So putting down your ego and pride to come join one other party to form a coalition, it's a very big deal. Now, so who is going to be the president and who is going to be the vice president?
let data speak for itself. In the previous elections, Atiku was able to garner 29% of the results. Peter Obi, who was a first-timer, but made a very great stride and were impressed about his performance, 25%. So if today, if they are still eligible to represent, why not? They should go for it. And Atiku should take the lead because he has had a great share, 29%, 25%. It's the right fit, right pair. So they should put together the same performance they put out the last time. And let's see if 29 plus 25 will be something beyond 50 plus so that they can make a difference.
Okay, it's still in discussion. It's not finalized.
Sure. I'm just speaking my opinion on a bit on data. I saw a flyer. You know, in a flyer, when you see the bigger picture remains the leader.
Atiku was the bigger picture. Because he was the former. He's been a vice president before, so I think he has experience. Talking of experience, so I think maybe he should have one term and then hand over to Obi, who will be the vice president. So anyway, moving on to the next topic, which is on the U.S. aid cuts being a threat to Africa, and here we are looking at the health sector, particularly the global health supply chain procurement and supply management. You know, in 2024, we saw the huge contribution of this initiative, that is 1.15 billion worth of health commodities and support to over 70 countries. And this in particular is the HIV, malaria, and maternal health being the main focus. Ajiman, now when Trump came into power, we saw that he actually cut the PAPFAIR aid to the health sector. And you know, most of African countries depend on these aids to acquire health commodities, technical support. Even research and all that. We all depend on these grants from the Western countries, particularly, especially US. And now there's been a cut. We had this for very long. months now,
Yeah.
and we are seeing the impact now. What do you think African leaders should do at this moment?
Well, I mean, it tells us that they say that when the honey drops and keeps dropping, know
Today
that
you are giving us idiomatic
yeah,
expressions.
that's where we are going right now. We speak in parables. When the honey keeps dropping, the moment you see the honey dropping at a very persistent rate, that is the moment you should know that it is about to finish.
To finish, yeah.
Yes. So we have been sucking the honey all this while, and some government had actually dedicated their budget that, okay,
Yeah.
as for this part, I know that the honey will drop from
It will come
somewhere
from, yeah.
and fulfill.
Yeah.
Today, you are now realizing that you have to
Yeah.
foot your own bill in that aspect.
Yeah.
As much as I am not in support of President Trump's decision to cut these fundings, because the U.S. is held as a world leader, and what a world leader does is that you are to show leadership in global challenges. So most of the times, your developmental aid and support go a long way to affirm your world leadership. It's not only about transactional leadership. President Trump, all his life, has been a leader who has excelled in transactions, making deals here and there. So he actually has lost a little bit of the diplomatic aspect that comes with leadership. Or rather sees that if there's a deal available, you can be in his good books.
Yeah.
South Africa had to make a deal.
Yeah.
Qatar made a deal. He made a deal with Rwanda and Congo. Wherever you see him interfering or involved, there's a deal.
Yeah. He's business minded.
It's a deal. And America is watching all this to happen.
Yeah.
US aid has been cut. They use some frivolous means to impugn it. Like it didn't bear credibility that you were funding unnecessary things like LGBTQI research in animals in Lesotho. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Cancel it. And a lot of these funny excuses. But
Initiatives.
beyond some of the frivolous ones, there were some legitimate
Yeah.
causes that these fundings were being
Were
able to do
support,
to support malaria healthcare, support ear and throat healthcare, maternal care, and all that in Africa, in some part of the world. Why are they also affected by this cut? Today, the U.S. is not in support or does not care about the countries who do lack all these support systems. Well, that is just a matter to them for them to decide. But to Africa, it's a wake-up call. That listen, today the U.S. is cutting funding, one of the strongest and biggest funds, U.S. aid. And this is a time where you also realize that how then, if without the U.S., how would you have survived? It makes you wake up as a country to realize that when these fundings were coming and we were curing diseases and yet we still had corruption, you realize that we've not fought this disease entirely.
No.
And when somebody supports you to do something, it's like teaching someone how to fish. If you fish for somebody, they are always looking for you to fish for them again. If you are not there, they may go
be
hungry.
idle.
But when you teach them how to fish, they now begin to be more proactive and more intuitive onto how to do it, and can even research into more unique ways of doing it better.
Yeah.
So Africa now will have to learn from this the hard way.
Yeah.
That
Very
we'll have
true.
to now devise our own ways to sustain our economies.
Yeah.
And not rely on any other country to take care of our mothers who are giving birth, to our children who have HIV, AIDS, and malaria. We will solve our own problems from now onwards.
Very, very true. I mean, it was a shock and a wake-up call to the African leaders. But now we need to accept the reality and change our mindset of, this grant is going to come from this Western country. So let's not. It is about time we dedicate some allocated budget to health, to research, to things that we know it is going to have major impact on us should we not focus on it. Now, I saw a statement from the executive director of USAID, and that is Miss Winnie, on the Guardian portal, and she mentioned that if the funding permanently disappear, the world face an additional 6 million HIV/AIDS infection and 4 million AIDS-related deaths by 2029. We are in 2025.
Yeah.
We have less than 5 years to get to 2029. And I mean, African leaders, since this cuts started, have still not identified a solution or a strategy to sustain their health.
Because they have always relied. They've always relied on the U.S. funding. Yeah, so today they have to learn the very hard way and devise their own means. As for the U.S., it is left to the people of the United States' conscience to watch this cut go on. It is their money, it's their taxpayers' money, and they know how best to deploy it. So it's up to them to appreciate the ramifications thereof.
Maybe we should read this comment before we move to the next topic. So this is from Latifa from Adenta. She says, this situation highlights the dependency theory in international relations. Many African health systems remain structurally dependent on foreign aid rather than building internal capacity. These US cuts expose just how vulnerable we are when external funding is withdrawn.
Definitely.
Africans can do better. We don't have always to rely on other people.
Definitely.
Of course, we can do better, and we can do better than that. Okay, I think this is the end of.
Yeah, so we wrap it over here with the hashtag Do It Yourself Africa, but we now have to end up in another entertaining aspect of the show, lifestyle on Hello Africa. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor, or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning, and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aauLMS@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Africa. Keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
So good morning, Africa. This is the Hello Africa Morning Show, and this is the lifestyle segment. My name is Jemima Daladem Duchi. And of course, Africa's greatest potential isn't in its gold or oil, it's in its people. I know you can argue with that, but do that in the comment section. Across schools, churches, and community, One Global Leadership Initiative is quietly reshaping the hearts and habits of thousands of young people in Ghana and beyond. Powered by Equip Ghana and the teachings of internationally acclaimed leadership expert John Calvin Maxwell, the Beyond Success program. So John C. Maxwell is a renowned leadership expert, author, and speaker who has dedicated 50 years to training leaders worldwide. Through his organization, Equip Leadership, has launched the Beyond Success Initiative, a global program helping individuals live and lead with transformational values. Equip Leadership Beyond Success Ghana works to empower leaders in schools, communities, and organizations, reaching over 15,000 Ghanaians and training more than 300 facilitators. The program also aims to build leaders who move beyond personal success to create significance in lives of others. This morning, we are honored to have the country coordinator with us, Mr. Bernard Kwam from Equip Ghana, to explore how the movement is going so far. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having
Okay, hope
me.
you are doing well.
Doing so well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. We are glad to have you today.
Yeah, I'm also excited to be in your studio.
That's great. So we are hearing a lot about Equip Ghana Beyond Success. But before we delve into the discussion, I read somewhere, I think on your site, that the Beyond Success program is a rebrand of the 1 Million Mandates Light and Salt initiative. Why the rebrand though?
Well, I think, thank you to you once again. And I'd like to bring greetings from the Equip family globally.
Okay.
I want to recognize they are listening.
Okay.
My regional Africa leader,
all right.
Ambassador Eric Newman, and also our sub-regional leader, Gwenga Samuel, and actually, and much homely, my team who are doing an incredible job in Ghana, and all the stakeholders who are really pushing us to, so I think it was a right information you picked from the site.
Yes.
And I'm really impressed about how succinct you're able to pull up such a strategic. So John Maxwell has been running the program, as you rightly mentioned, 50 years of teaching leadership all over the place. And the 1 million mandate had already been expended.
Okay.
So we start a project, we give a timeline. When it's over, we try to look at the next step. And even before we look at the next step, it's already in the pipeline. So the 1 million mandate got expended when we're able to raise 1 million leaders to impact their wealth. And that was also in the similitude of what we call the Salt and Light Initiative.
Yes, that's true.
So the Salt and Light Initiative actually is something that has been retooled. It was like a retooling process. We thought we should look at the best way to put our foot because of the changing things and changing issues that are coming up.
Yeah.
You can as well agree with me that 10 years' time, the way human beings were, they looked, they thought has drastically changed.
That's true.
So we also had to do the same. And we thought that the Beyond Success is a best fit for whatever we want to project into the community.
Okay, so now to the Beyond Success initiative. Where did it originate from, and then what's the global vision?
So yeah, I think it's almost like 5 years now since its introduction, and to be very sincere with you, the rate and pace at which it's spread throughout the globe, it's even over whatever we were really anticipating. Because in Africa, it's in 30 countries now within a space of 5 years, maybe 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Then in Latin America, in US, in Asia and all of that. So it's something that is run over the period. And we are even looking at entering into about a 10-year period.
Okay.
And because we're seeing the impact and the relevance of it. And we hope to even do better and more. So if you're asking where it's originated from, it's still within the Maxwell fraternity. And it's still coming out of the vision of the man, John Maxwell. And in fact, the Beyond Success program is the legacy program. When we say legacy program, it is the program that's on the heartbeat of John Maxwell. Under the Maxwell Enterprise, we have a lot of programs or projects that are running. The iLead program, the Global Youth Initiative program. We also have the Change Your World, so on and so forth. But the Beyond Success is something that John Maxwell is all over the place with because of the impact that he's really making. And through the Beyond Success program, right now we are hitting over 3 million impact stories. And that is just within a space of 4.5 years. And thanks to very committed facilitators across the globe who are working tirelessly, effortlessly, and committedly to make this work run. And also sponsors who are giving and supporting this great initiative. So it's something that we are excited to explore and work with.
Okay, so we understand that Ghana is like the key chosen hub. Why Ghana?
Okay, key chosen hub. Well, okay, well, Ghana amongst many countries are key chosen hubs. But we are excited as to what is happening in Ghana, to be sincere with you. And definitely, Ghana is placed at a strategic point in Africa democracy and Africa economic integration. And you will definitely know that, especially in Africa, there are 3 major countries. And I like to borrow a word. People can debate it, but do that in the comment section. There are 3 of them. The first one, I like to start with my country, Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya. These are the 3 economic hubs that literally pulls up the importance and the relevance of Africa and spread it all over the place. If you want anything to work, anything to grow, anything to be sustainable, you start with these countries. And because in West Africa, that's the economic hub, Nigeria, Ghana. In Eastern Africa, you're looking at Kenya. Well, the other ones are coming up so greatly. And so we're seeing the program taking great inroads in Ghana, and it's making the most of impact. And maybe that's why we want to say that maybe it's making those kind of stuff. So we're seeing the impact of the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, who really is blazing the trail all over the place. We're seeing the likes of Kofi Annan. All these guys are in history. And we're also seeing very great leaders who are making great impact on the global place. And also maybe we want to say that's why it's contributing creditably to the impact that is happening in Africa.
Okay, so I went on your site again, and then I saw a lot of testimonials from students and, of course, young adults in Ghana. But I mean, in your personal view, what makes the program so transformational for youth?
Well, I like to even start with myself. The way we operate the model is John Maxwell believes strongly that transformation begins with yourself. All right. So if whatever I am propagating or representing is not showing up in my life, I cannot give a very good testimony of it, unless maybe you want to just tell a lie.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, I come into contact with a course or a program, maybe say one of the modules like personal growth. It helps you to begin to think outside of the box. We call it having a growth mindset. A lot of us in Africa, especially the leaders, are very much uncomfortable when we begin to talk about change. Everyone gets so uncomfortable. And so it's something that pushes me out of my comfort zone. And I begin to see that within a space of 4 years, a lot of things have happened to me, and it's great. So when I see people giving testimonies, I can really attest and even agree to whatever is happening. So starting myself, I see it as something that everyone should at least have a taste of it and actually go through it. And that's why we are singing that hymn, we are making that trumpet and asking organizations and institutions to just come into it. And sometimes I get really, really emotional when I read some of the stories or I listen to some of them. And one of them, which I really love so much, I always try to talk about, has to do with the forgiveness bit of it. I'm able to build up the severe friendship and relationship that I have with my parents. I'm able to build or patch up all the fallouts that have come because of one or two things within my corporate system. And again, also, I'm able to receive what we call internal stability. Just yesterday, we were with a group of students, and it made a very important point as to talk about mental health.
Yes, very true.
Emotional health. That is one of the things that is killing a lot of us. Because you can be intellectually great, when you have emotional instability, it's going to show up.
That's true.
And that definitely is going to impact our overall productivity. So this program doesn't only talk about your intellectual aptness, it goes on to clear the bushes and the excesses of life and makes you be yourself, and you are able to make the most of impact. So that is why I believe strongly this program is needed than ever before in our generation. And thanks to John Maxwell and the team.
So I've seen that John Maxwell has written a number of books on leadership, and some of them are The Winning Attitude, Be the People Person, Be All You Can, Developing the Leader Within You, and 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Do you think, or let me say, how does this correlate with the initiative? Because I see that the initiative is looking at building leaders who have value, transformative values. So I feel, the books that he's written has somewhat a connection or an impact in the initiative going on.
When you come into the Maxwell Enterprise, you look at a certain trajectory or a certain line that we are focusing on. We don't want to be anywhere and everywhere. We just want to go straight up to make a statement. And if you look at it, for me, in general terms, there are three major focal points. First one is character development. Leaders that will lead with character. Number two is competence. You see, I believe strongly that one of the things that make people to follow a leader is they being able to exhibit competencies. Then the next one is connections. So we are looking at character, we are looking at connections, we are looking at competence. And all of these three major pillars is based on that. A lot of books are coming up and all. Now, if you look at the name of the program, it's called Beyond Success. A lot of us want to become successful. But after being successful, what next?
What next?
If my success doesn't become like a great platform to make other people successful, it's as well as if I am not even successful. Because there's a lot of benefit in living a life of significance. We pick a book like The Winning Attitude. Let's come back to even Developing the Leader Within You, Volume 1 and Volume 2. We're looking at all those kind of things, that all these books have unique and very different connections. But at the end of the day, it holds developing you as a person. You will love them. You will. And the beautiful thing about the Maxwell teaching is these are everyday life practices that we have thrown away. But it's just like a reminder. It's like a rehash that we need to go back to them. And it's something that blesses us and makes us great. I'd like to just share with one of the rules that we talk about is the 30-second rule.
Okay.
Okay. That rule is something that we do it, but people don't even think that is a rule.
Okay.
What is it saying? It's saying that within the first 30 seconds of meeting someone for the first time, say something that will add value to them. Like I meet you for the first time, like, wow, I like the way your glasses are worn. That's okay. It will just make you, the best of the day of the person. And when you do that, it builds a lot of connections that makes you great.
Okay. So before we continue the conversation, there is an airtime online for you to win. But before you win that, you have to tell us the second story on the top African news and one particular word you picked from that story. You can share the answer to the contact on your screen right now. So we'll continue with the discussion. Okay, so I want to get a bit personal. And I mean, you said you've been running this initiative over almost 5 years, maybe 4.5. I would like you to share some personal story or an experience that personally touched you. It could be a student or a community that embraced the initiative.
All right, there are so many of them. I just have to screen through my...
just one.
So just trying to pick a nursing student from the central region of Ghana.
Okay.
And one of our facilitators called Mrs. Joyce Ansa. I just hope she's listening to me. She has to pay some coins because I'm mentioning her. So what we do is when a facilitator has been trained, what they are expected of is to, let's say, propagate the program within their sphere of influence. Apparently, she is a teacher in the Nursing Training College in Cape Coast.
Okay.
Right? And when she heard of the program, she enrolled, she got trained, she got so excited and even moved on to become a facilitator. Now, she decided to do this with her students.
Wow.
And you will be shocked. After her first lesson on relationships, 3 students walks up to her, said, "Madam, can I have a personal conversation with you?" I was like, "Why not?" He said, during the relationship bit, the last pointer of how to restore relationship, he spoke about mending or repairing broken relationships. Apparently, she's fallen out in a good relation with the mother. We've not been speaking for a long time.
Wow.
After the session, she picks up a phone
And calls.
"Hi, Mom, how are you?" The mom was silent on the phone.
Wow.
The mom starts sobbing on the phone. "What happened? You're calling today.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for everything. Blah, 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 blah." Now they are the best of friends.
Wow.
He gives such a testimony to the woman. There was no crusade. There was no anointing oil. There was no prophetic whatever. Just open, honest conversation. Brought her mind back that she needed a mother. And that alone, for me, if there is nothing else, that mended relationship is enough.
It's enough. Okay.
Let me just put that even outside. We do, what do we call it, a general program also for students also. We traveled all the way to the eastern region at Donting Senior High School. We had one session, and after everything, we made a presentation. We opened up the platform. If you're here, you want to connect to whoever, whatever. These are students though, but they were really showing high level of emotions. They were crying, some of them were so many things. I don't know what else can make a person cry, but it's something that touches their heart and they want to live well. So as for the testimonies, it keeps me going and even doing more. How about the text messages? How about the calls?
That's true. That's true. All right. So we'll take a video of some testimonials and then we'll be back.
Wow.
So my name is Valerie Elikim Potife. I'm a level 100 LLB evening student at the Gimpa Law School. I just participated in the John C. Maxwell leadership training program, and it has been so insightful. It has been a 7 weeks journey of absolutely amazing and incredible life tips. We have learned about attitude, we have learned about personal growth, we have learned about how to live intentionally, and all of these things have come in a long way to add up in our thinking and our skills as leaders, and we are going to harness these potentials into our journey and our walk through life. So I'd encourage you to participate in this course and in this program if you can and when you can. In fact, find the time and make time to participate and sign up for this training, and you would never ever regret it. Thank you very much. Bye.
Ajete Roberta Najoko from Teshi Technical Institute, and I'm also a student from Fashion Design Technology Department, and I'm the Girls Compound Overseer. During the leadership program, I learned under the topic relationship, and under the topic relationship, I learned how I should relate with my teachers, colleagues, and juniors. And also under personal growth, I learned that growth is not automatic, that I have to learn it properly, not to, so that I won't end my education.
Hi, my name is Bernard. I'm so excited to connect with you wherever you are. All right, Equip Ghana has been a great moment for me since my growth in terms of leadership, confidence, and all of that. I got in touch with the Equip Ghana team through a gentleman called Benedict. He's been a great guy. He's a Liberian. And from that conversation, getting to know even the Africa regional director has really aced up a lot of great potentials in me. You see, human beings, you will never know what you can do until you come into contact with certain people, certain organizations. I strongly believe that Equip Ghana is a calling, it's a movement, it's a mandate that has come to stay to bring meaning to the lives of people globally. And I have been impacted in so many ways: how to manage my emotions, how to connect with people meaningfully, how to get things done effectively and efficiently. So I owe this part of my development to Equip Ghana, especially through the Beyond Success program.
Those were very great testimonials, and we're glad that Equip Ghana is doing a lot for the youth. But I'll take some messages coming in right here. And this one says, it is a great initiative. Changing mindset is crucial for if Africa is to rise beyond its resource wealth and build nations led by ethical, value-driven leaders. And that is from Tracy. And another one says, this program could be a catalyst for reversing Africa's brain drain. If young people find purpose and significance here, rather than just chasing personal success abroad, they can build meaningful legacies at home. And this is from Ima, and Ima is coming from La Paz. And another one says that for some of us, especially because of how we were raised and our relationships with our African parents, it will be difficult to build genuine relationships. Many of us grew up in homes where open communication and emotional connection weren't encouraged. So learning to connect deeply with others is not something that comes naturally. And this is from Isaac from Medina. And lastly, I'll take this from Sandra, and she says, how can young professionals effectively manage their emotions at work, especially when dealing with difficult colleagues or stressful situations without letting it affect their performances? I think I'll let you answer the last question or comment that came in. I'll read it again. She says, how can young professionals effectively manage their emotions at work, especially when dealing with difficult colleagues or stressful situations without letting it affect their performances?
That's a huge one.
A huge one.
Could be a whole workshop. Sandra, so you're not alone, because actually that is, you see, let me even start it from this way. The reason a lot of people are not giving up their best at the place of work, we call it character clashes.
Okay.
Yeah. you're coming from a different background.
Yes.
I am also coming from.
Yes.
But at least we have what we call ethical character disposition. Okay, and these are things that are not taught within the classroom.
That's true.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And unfortunately for us, we are all running away from paid mentorship programs. But these are things that really help us.
Yeah.
Organizations in Ghana must begin to put that within the orientational system. To even go deeper and further, a lot of organizations don't even have it.
Yeah.
The HR system, a lot of them do not have it within their orientational system.
Yes.
So that's why we have a toxic workplace or toxic work environment.
Yeah.
Emotions, I mean, the world in which we are now is like everyone is in a hurry, everyone is busy, everyone just is looking at the money bits. But you see, emotions is everything.
Yeah.
So how do we manage difficult colleagues or situations? It's all under one of our topics called attitude.
Okay.
Attitude is that one thing that can make the difference. You see, attitude can either give you a bright color version of your life or a dark and dreary version of your life. So she is seeing the person as difficult, but when we turn or flip the whole situation around, we will see the person as more challenging. The person is not difficult, but the person is now challenging you to really come up with your best of self. But because she's not been able to develop herself to deal with certain kind of people and situations, she sees it as a block. And that is definitely going to stifle her growth. So for me, if Sandra is listening, I want to throw that challenge to her.
Yeah.
To begin to work on herself, work on her emotions, to be able to manage such a situation. Because maybe your next level is going to require a higher or a much more difficult person. How are you going to deal with that? You need the money, isn't it?
That's true.
You are there for the money, not for the person. So how
You
do
need
you
the money.
So you need to manage this person in such a way that it doesn't become a difficulty. And we have so many principles and strategies to deal with them. Either you give them the long spoon, which may not really help you in the long run, or you try to even become their best friend.
That's true.
Because everyone needs a difficult person in their
We just
life.
try and be their best friend. So before we go, briefly, I know this initiative has been going on for some years, but I'm sure there has been some challenges. Of course, in every journey, we encounter those challenges. So briefly touch on some challenges that the initiative has.
I mean, the first one is what we call the systemic unwillingness to change.
Okay.
And that is a huge block to whatever we are doing. And the beautiful thing about this program is it's not like a money generating something where we say, give us this $1,000 and that's it. No. Sometimes you genuinely have conversation with leaders and they begin to be like, okay, so you're coming to bring change and I'm going to feel so uncomfortable. All right, I'll call you later and that's it. So we have a systemic block in what, so we are not able to penetrate into certain places that we wanted to go. The prison system, the slums and all those places we really wish to be. So that's one of it. And secondly, also has to do with the availability of, should I use the word, committed people that we're working with. You see, because of the way the program is, we have a lot of people that we want to, sometimes a lot of, he's busy, it's not available, issues are
Everyone
coming.
is busy.
You know. And sometimes also the calling or the engagement are a lot. So
it's kind of difficult.
So, I mean, there are quite a lot of them, but we are excited that we are surmounting each one of them gradually, and we've been able to reach that far.
So what's the future for the project before we go?
Yes, so the future of the project, I am so excited about what is happening tomorrow. Tomorrow could be just immediately or in the future. Yeah, because as it stands now, we've been able to impact about 30,000 Ghanaians, even running into the 50s of thousands. And I'm excited that at the end of the 10-year period, we should be able to have impacted about 5 million Ghanaians. And it could even be more than that, because right now we are in about 7 to 8 regions. And we are hoping to spread to the rest of the 16 regions. So the future looks exciting. The future is something that we're looking for. All we are asking for is a lot of partnership, a lot of opportunities to impact more, and such platforms like this, I think, can really help us to do more and more. And thank you for the great work that you guys are doing.
Thank
You're
you.
doing amazingly well, and thank you
you
for having us here.
And thank you so much for coming. So we've had a country coordinator of Equip Ghana, who is Bernard Kwam. So this has been the Hello Africa Morning Show, the lifestyle segment. My name is Chimaima Deladem Duche. Of course, the airtime is still there. Kindly don't forget, do that on the contact on your screens. We'll see you same time next time. Bye.
This program is proudly sponsored by Vena Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.